All right, so then on August 1st, later that day, um, when we were talking about him, when Amanda was trying to get me to get her to talk to her, um, later that day, uh, I asked her if she was still awake because that's normally when she would be getting home from her shift had she still worked at House of Pies. So I figured she was probably still awake if she was still on the same schedule. Um, she said yeah, she was just watching some TV or whatever. Um, and I said, okay. She says, I didn't want to say this part, but she says, I'm up tonight watching TV with my daddy. So I mean, she's 22. I don't know what she's doing, but so I said, my bad. I'll leave you alone then. Take care. And she said, no, it's okay. Are you normally up this late? And I said, yeah, I'm usually up till dawn. I'm not a fan of like when the sun comes up. I don't like it. And she says, you need some sun. It'll make you feel happy, as if to imply that I'm not happy. So I said, I'm happy. And she says, that's good. Then I say, would it be out of line for me to ask you to tell me a little bit about yourself? And because up to this point, I don't know anything about this fucking person. I just know that she's like 22, her name's Kaitlin, and she's been a waitress at my favorite diner for about a year, and she's very nice. That's all I know about this person. So then I just asked how she like found herself in Houston. She's going to school here or whatever. And eventually she asks me if I have any siblings, and I told her about my sister. And then I just said, what do you do in your free time? Like, do you have any hobbies? And then she just says, hey, sorry, I'm dozing off. So I'm like, fine then, fuck it. So I give it another 2 or 3 days. Fuck it, I don't need this bitch. And so August 4th, she says, August 4th, I'm sitting there with my uncle, and because we were up in Austin, and I was sitting there with my uncle, and we were at Outback, and I was like, hey, dude. And she's like, don't call me dude. I'm like, what? What the fuck? Fucking don't call me dude. So now she's getting like an attitude. So then I say, okay, hey, Kaitlin. And then she says, hey, with a smiley. What kind of shit is that? You hardly know me, bitch. I said, hey, dude. She says, don't call me dude. Damn. Damn, that's cold. And then, so I said, hey, Kaitlin. She said, hey. And then I said, are you all right, or should I leave you alone for now? She didn't respond. I said, so, get back to me when you get a second. And then so that was August 4th or whatever. What does that say? So another, like, what, week and a half goes by. August 14th, I text her. I was like, so you still in Austin or whatever? And no response. So like a couple hours go by. Oh, no. Okay, so I said, are you still in Austin on August 14th? And then no response. So just in one last fucking just throwing it out there so that I could just wipe this off my list of things to worry about. Not to worry about, but to have on my mind. I just texted her on August 17th. I said, and I quote, all right, so this will be my last attempt at this, as I'd like to retain some dignity, and I don't want you to think that I don't get your hint, but I'd really like to physically be around you again. And it doesn't have to be like a date or anything weird, but I don't know, let me take you somewhere nice, and we can smoke some weed or whatever, or not, and I can talk to you, and you can talk to me, and if you want, maybe we can learn to be friends or something before I move back. Shit, I shouldn't have said that. I'm moving somewhere. I'm moving somewhere at the end of the year, and I don't want to speak more than that. But a couple people know about it, and Kayla's one of those people. But I said, I want to get to know this person before I fucking leave. And I said, And then I follow that up and I said, and if you don't want that, don't worry about writing out a response or anything. A lack of one will do the trick, and I'll leave you alone now. And thank you. And then she sends me a hey with a fucking smiley face. This bitch. This fucking bitch. She just sends me a hey with a smiley face. And then she says, I'm sorry if I gave a hint. I didn't mean to. You're really cool. And then she just kind of talks to me just on like some weird bullshit. She asked me like what I'm doing, and I told her I was just out eating. And she asked me how it was up in Austin with my uncle. And then just this mindless banter back and forth. And then on August 17th, I guess, oh yeah, because that was at like 12. When I sent that, that was like 12 a.m. So on August 17th, that same day, 4:01 p.m., I said hi, because she told me to text her again after our conversation ended, like the next day after we got some sleep. She told me to text her again. So I said hi, and then she didn't respond. So then I waited 3 hours, and I said, what's up? And then she says hi, and I said, what are you up to? She says, about to eat dinner with my parents. And that was it. I said, I don't give a shit. She clearly has no, I just left it there. Like, this bitch clearly has no interest in me whatsoever. But if that's the case, why would she have, like, called me, like, baby and stuff, and, like, been so flirty with me and stuff? She just must have really been good at fucking earning that tip. And I should have just left it there. I really should have. I fucking humiliated myself. I can't believe I'm going to upload this. But that's my attempt at, you know, extending my relationship experiences. And I think it honestly would have been a lot easier if I was just trying to fuck her, because I'm able to get pussy. I can get pussy. But that's not what I was aiming for. I want to get to know this person genuinely. But you know what? Now I don't anymore. I think she's just kind of a cunt. I think she's just a little bit of a cunt. And I don't think there's much going on up in her head. I really don't think there's much. I don't think there's much of a mystery to her. I think she's just a little blank. And I'm not lying to myself. I mean, I understand. I'm not a fucking 10. But I mean, I treated her very well, and I was very, I don't know. I figure after like a year of back and forth and getting to know each other, I don't feel like that was out of line to say the things I said. And I feel like I walked away with a little bit of dignity. I made one final text where I just said, you know what? Here's this, yada yada. And I just said that just so I could fucking get it off my mind. Just so I can walk away and go, okay, I tried and I didn't miss an opportunity that I would have had I not been a pussy. So, you know, she's clearly not interested in me, and that's okay. I tried. That's that. And, yeah. I have other things to talk about, but I think I'm just going to make them in other videos. Yeah. Alright, have a good night, guys, and thanks for listening to my pathetic attempt at meeting this waitress.